right. Welcome, everybody. Man, this is why we got to come up with a name for this. I can say it right there. But then, man, it's Jamaar, and I am 5'5". This is 5. You just call me Mr. Amelia in the chats, part of the affirmation. Definitely
Yes,
John Miles 999. What's good, player? Early checkers.
Your man's up.
Hit that like button, man. Hit that subscribe if you're not subscribed. Definitely get in the chat section. I just got a question real quick before we even get going. Let us know where you at, what's the temperature in your location, and let me know what you think about this content and also who you think is going to win the big game tonight. Get in that comment section, man. What's going on, my brother? How your day going?
Man, all is well. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure we get everybody in here, sending everybody from Facebook on over. And I'm sending it over to Instagram real quick. Let everybody know that we live and what we're going to be talking about today. Is I think it's super important. I think it's time that people are ready to hear the message, and we're here to give it to them. You know what I mean?
That's a fact, because the things that we're going to bring up today, because it's going to be topics, right, that people don't even realize that about a year ago we couldn't even talk about these things. 2 years ago. You know what I mean? You could, but your whole channel was going to get knocked down. It wasn't really going to work. Man, but now we actually can talk about these things. These are things that people ain't really talking about too much and are on our way. Dallas 53.
They hope you forgot. That's what it is.
Yeah, we didn't forget. Well, we want the Eagles today. He in Dallas, Texas, 53 degrees. Kenny Patterson, salute. We appreciate you spending the block. That's a fact, bro. That's a whole fact.
So what we're gonna do to get this thing rolling so that we all on the same page before we move forward, we have to watch this video of RFK and Senator Alsa Brooks talking about vaccines. Okay, because it prompted a quote that people have been talking about, but they're quickly trying to sweep under the rug, because they don't want you to know what he just said and really delve into it and dig deep about what he's trying to say. Okay, so let's play this in full so that they can't say we're taking anything out of context, and we're going to talk about it.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Kennedy, I was struck by your comments during our meeting last week.
What?
I was struck by your comments in our meeting last week, where you made it abundantly clear to me that you intended to clean house of the professional scientists at the National Institutes of Health, which you know is headquartered in the state of Maryland, and employs thousands of hardworking Marylanders. I, for the record, believe in scientists, and I believe in doctors, and I trust them over politicians without medical degrees. You talked about bad science and bad scientists. And in fact, you specifically said to me in response to my question that you intend to replace the bad scientist with the good scientist. And so I want to ask you, in your opinion, what makes a scientist or a doctor qualified to serve at the National Institutes of Health?
A scientist who's devoted to empirical methodology, to evidence-based science, scientists who understand the importance of replication, the importance of publishing raw data and being open and transparent about it, the importance of publishing peer review. We have NIH has overseen over the past several years the precipitous decline in American health. There's 91,000 people at HHS. And are you suggesting that some of them should not be held responsible for that decline? They were in charge of protecting our health.
Let me just insert here.
Let me just finish.
But let me just say this, because I only have 3 minutes left. I don't set the rules here, but I ask the questions. And the question is really whether you intend, as you said, to substitute essentially your judgment for the judgment of these professional scientists. And
I'm not going to substitute my judgment for science. Of course, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, listen, the New York Times just did an article last week talking about the fraud, the 20-year fraud, 800 fraudulent studies produced by NIH on amyloid plaques, and not allowing any other hypothesis about the cause of Alzheimer's.
Well, how will you decide, Mr. Kennedy, which scientist
The ones
are
who
bad
are,
scientists?
ones
Are
who
they the ones who disagree with you?
the ones who are corrupt, the ones who have been doing science like the amyloid plaque studies that were fraudulent.
Well,
We
these
should
doctors,
not.
let me ask you a question. Do you have a medical degree?
Do I know?
Okay, let me go to the next question. The Heritage Fund has compiled a watch list of federal employees to go after federal staff. Is there a watch list for federal staff at HHS?
Not that I know of.
Have you or has anyone in the administration developed a list of career scientists or federal staff that you would target for termination?
Not that I know of.
And let me just ask you another question. Now, your failed presidential campaign has been raising money to try and cover your debts. And you were questioned about this yesterday and failed to answer a question that Senator Warren asked you. And so I want to ask you again regarding these emails that you have sent to raise money. How much has your presidential campaign made fundraising off of this administration's complete disregard for the workforce at HHS?
Excuse me? I didn't hear the question. The last part.
How much money has your presidential campaign made off of fundraising, off of this administration's complete disregard for the workforce at HHS?
Zero.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record 2 emails from this week and the week before regarding fundraising that you are currently doing through your presidential campaign.
Without objection.
And finally, I want to ask you, I have you said you were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that the particular antigens that Blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received?
That,
What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that Blacks need fewer antigens than
This is
so
so
you get the
dangerous.
same measles vaccine. but
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous. Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will
With
be
the
voting
truth
against
is
your nomination because
science.
your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
I mean, do you think science is dangerous, Senator? This is published peer-reviewed studies.
I yield.
You see how it got real interesting at the end? You on mute, my brother. You on mute. Unmute yourself, my brother. You're muted, Jamar. You're muted, my guy.
Okay, we back.
There we go.
I'm gonna drop a bomb on that. Pretty intense conversation.
I didn't hit a bomb.
Really intense conversation. So what I want to talk about, first and foremost, you can tell, I think the interesting thing and the most important thing about this is that he's speaking to a Black woman when he's talking about this, okay? So she's not a professional either, healthcare professional. Neither is he, right? What he does emphasize, though, however, is what we call naturopathic medicine, right? Meaning they don't use actual medicine to heal you. He's big on nature, right? And when you're dealing with nature, you're automatically talking about Black people. We're connected to nature. Or anybody that's melanated, anybody that has a pineal gland, nature is your friend, okay?
Yes.
So when we're dealing with vaccines, right, we have to talk about the fact that when you see her talking to him, when it's time for him to answer, she would cut him off before he got to finish, right?
Well, hold on. Quick pushback right there. Do you wonder if that's the reason why they put a time limit on it?
Yeah, they put the time.
Remember, yeah.
She's holding a good piece of the floor, just simply trying to get the question out. She's sitting on information and giving background, and she gives the question When he's getting ready to answer, before he's done, she cuts him off and leads to the next thing. So she's trying to set up some sort of agenda. If you can peep that, if you were in the argument and it was you would feel that energy, right? Like, I'm talking here, right? So, but you're going to see that this is going to be consensus wise when we bring this matter up, especially when we talk about vaccines. They're either going to overtalk you, they're going to laugh, all these different things, right? And then, or they're going to add the ad hominems like she did. Oh, do you have a medical degree, right? She's going to try to insult you, right? As opposed to dealing with the subject matter. So in the subject matter, he says, because she says, what kind, because notice she said, what kind of schedule should I get? So now she's personalizing it. Versus, instead of dealing with the subject matter, she personalized it to herself. So now you can tell she's emotional in this, right? She's emotionally invested in it. And she says that he's dangerous for saying what he's saying before he even explained what it is that he's trying to say. He just said that there's studies going on, and she cut him off and said, you're dangerous, right? But the reality is, everything that he was saying was 100% factual information. Black people are not the same as all other races in the world, okay? In terms of medicine, diagnosis, physicality, all of that. Genetically, we are not the same. And they try to put Black people in the same health index, and they've been doing this for a long time, only detriment to us, right? So I'm going to bring up some sources here, and I'm going to let you know where this stems from, and show you how this has been perpetuated in the past and is still ongoing. Okay, he knows more than her about who she is and what she has in her bloodline, and you're going to see this a lot. And this is why you can't turn away information just because somebody's white, Spanish, Puerto Rican, whatever they come from, Asian. They could know more about you and your situation than you even know, because you have not studied the subject matter. And she clearly showed that in this presentation in that courtroom. So what we're going to talk about today, before we move any further, all right, I'm going to give a little bit of a lesson today. We're going to talk about a woman named Henrietta Lacks. Okay, Henrietta Lacks. Some of you may know her, some of you may not. Let me get my screen up here. Okay. Henrietta Lacks is a woman who ended up getting cancer, okay? And they took her cells. She went to Johns Hopkins Hospital because she had cancer, cervical cancer. And she ended up going to Johns Hopkins. They were one of the few hospitals that were servicing African-American people back then. There were hospitals that we couldn't even go to during the time that she was doing. So during the time that she had got cancer, they put her in this. She went to this particular hospital, and she was dying of cancer. And they took her culture of her cells. This particular doctor had cultures of all different races and all different cultures and cells that he was collecting of cancer patients. Her particular cells, well, before we get to her cells, all the cancer cells that he was collecting from people from all other races. After a certain amount of time, within 24 to 48 hours, those cells that he collected would die. They were inflicted with cancer, they would die. Okay? When he got her cells, however, her cells within 24 to 48 hours began to replicate themselves and multiply. She had cells that when you separated from her body were still alive, and they're immortal, and they're alive till this day. All of the research that you see that's going on vaccines and things of that nature, and medicines and things that they roll out to us, they are still using her cells for their lab work, okay, to this day. And it was a whole big debacle as to the family making sure that the family gets paid, and things of that nature. She didn't know that they were taking her cells and doing this, by the way, when they started doing this. Major key. It was unbeknownst to her. The family members found out later on. So what they found out, and they call them HeLa cells, HeLa, okay, in honor of Henrietta Lacks. She was a breakthrough in medicine, and it showed that Black people, specifically people of African descent with old blood types, those who are Rh negative, can fall into this category. Go ahead. You want to say something?
Nah, I'm not trying to interrupt. I'm like 90% sure I'm everything you just said.
Good.
The blood type, I'm like 90% sure, bro. But
That's
I didn't
the
want to
original
interrupt
bloodline.
you.
Mhm. So if you are O negative, that means you have no rhesus monkey blood in you. Okay, that's the difference between you being O positive, O negative. It's do you have a specific type of monkey's blood inside your bloodstream? Okay.
Because the negative could provide blood to anybody that needs it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I could give blood to anybody who
Anybody.
needs it.
Universal.
Doesn't matter who. Yeah, I
Original-
can provide blood to.
Yes. That's the original blood type of mankind. Okay. So now with Henrietta Lacks, right? And I want y'all to, I'm going to provide links for this. I told you we're going to be sourcing up. Okay. Let me see. Matter of fact, I think I can put this right in the feed. Actually, let me.
You could, on the feed. You could drop it in the chat if you want.
So y'all can read along and follow this on your own. Let me find it here. I'm going to put the link in the feed.
Yeah. So who would have thought we'd have been talking about blood types?
Yeah, you got to talk
You know
about
what I'm
all this.
saying?
And this is what he was getting at. But because she's uninformed that we're different and we are not the same, she assumes he doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, I don't think it's gonna do too much good there. But if you in the chat, you can grab it, family. If you want to read that, this is just honoring Henrietta Lacks. Let me scroll down a little bit. As you can see, they're doing a dedication here for her. 1951, this is going on. All right. So you got segregation and all that type of stuff going on during this time. Right. She passed away October the 4th, 1951. Okay. I'm just going to briefly read through this real quick. A young mother of 5 named Henrietta Lacks visited Johns Hopkins Hospital complaining of vaginal bleeding. Upon examination, renowned gynecologist Dr. Howard Jones discovered a large malignant tumor on her cervix. At the time, Johns Hopkins Hospital was one of the only few hospitals to treat poor African Americans. As medical records show, Mrs. Lacks began undergoing radium treatments. Back then, they used radium for a lot of treatment back then, and they took that away. And we'll talk about that in another lesson. But anyway, undergoing radium treatments for her cervical cancer. This was the best medical treatment available at the time for the terrible disease. A sample of her cancer cells retrieved during a biopsy were sent to Dr. George Gay's nearby tissue lab. For years, Dr. Gay, a prominent cancer and virus researcher, had been collecting cells from all patients, regardless of their race or socioeconomic status, who came to the Johns Hopkins Hospital and with cervical cancer. But each sample quickly died in Dr. Gay's lab. What Dr. Gay would soon discover was that Miss Lacks' cells were unlike any of the others he had ever seen. Where other cells would die, Miss Lacks' cells doubled every 20 to 24 hours. So there's no cap in this, okay? Today, these incredible cells, nicknamed HeLa cells, from the first 2 letters of her first and last names, are used to study the effects of toxins, drugs, hormones, and viruses on the growth of cancer cells without experimenting on humans. They have been used to test the effects of radiation and poisons, to study the human genome, which we were talking about yesterday, the Genome Project, to learn more about how viruses work, and played a crucial role in the development of the polio and COVID-19 vaccines. Let me stop there. Okay. So to this day, 1951, a woman dies in 1951, a Black woman. They realize her cells are literally immortal. They say, we're going to use these as long as we can, pretty much forever, because they just keep replicating. Everybody else dies, right? So we're talking about literally Black woman superpowers here. She's the only one. Mitochondrial DNA Eve is what we're talking about here. Okay? Shows up at the hospital. And they took the culture and they realized what they found. And they're still using those cells to this day. Just from that alone, this is before we get into extra stuff. I didn't even get on the build yet. Just from that alone, you already know a Black woman has the potential to have a different level and different status of immortality than the other human beings. We can gather that right there from the rip off of Henrietta Lacks. Peace, Uncle Duke. What up?
Peace, peace.
Hey, yo, Duke, have you heard of, how do you say it? Henrietta
Lacks.
Have you heard about her?
Yeah, didn't she have like a certain immunity? Like her
Yes.
immune system was like super advanced or something, and they was doing the experiments and trying to find how.
So
how
he
to-
didn't hear nothing. He was outside. So we're just trying to see what he knows. So we don't got to go through everything again. Okay. So you know who she was. I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
was studying and experimenting with her, like trying to find the keys of life through her. You know?
Facts.
Yeah. He just showed on the internet information they provided about her cells and how her cells keep replicating and just a whole bunch of shit that probably society ain't ready to hear right now.
Right.
That they need to
scared.
prepare them because they didn't accept it and is experimenting with it to figure out how to make it a tool for them.
Right.
You get what I
Or a
mean? And
tool-
we're not
or a
even
tool
wanting.
against us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A tool for them to use how to their discretion. But
'Cause the
us,
food-
what I'm saying is they're trying to do that, and a lot of us don't even want to accept the information, let alone how someone can weaponize this type of information.
They've been weaponizing it through the food, because certain foods aren't good for us people of color.
That's right. We're gonna delve into that a little bit. So what
Yo,
she
did we
wanted
talk
to
about
do-
that earlier?
She wanted to attack his character. As
Yo,
you notice, she started
yo,
bringing up
bro.
different things instead of actually dealing with the subject matter, which could have brought us forward in science. She wanted to, like I said, use an ad hominem, attacked him as a person
I
because
was
of her.
saying the same thing, brother.
You
I was
understand?
saying the same thing.
And
Like
it
she
was
was
sad
using
to
that
watch.
shaming
Yeah.
language,
Now-
talking about it's dangerous. It's dangerous for her to say it's dangerous.
Correct.
She asked him, was he a medical professional, whatever. He should have rebutted with, "Are you?"
Are you?
At least my people ain't here doing the studies. You get what I'm
So what
saying?
you didn't catch is, remember at the beginning she said that I asked the questions, you answers. I don't set the rules. I only got a certain. So basically, she was making him aware that you cannot rebuttal with a question.
Right.
She made him aware of the. So the answer you wanted was what we all wanted. They made sure that he can't even say that.
She was
wouldn't
scared.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
She
She
all
didn't
she
want to
heard
do it.
was black people ain't getting the same treatment as white people, and she went into a frenzy
Yep.
when he
Yeah.
was actually cooking facts. We're different than
He was just about to warm up. He
non-melanated
didn't
people.
even get into it yet. He was just warming up. He said black people have different antigens than white people, a different level of antigens, and he is 150% correct.
Absolutely.
So now, what does that mean? What do antigens do? Okay, for people who don't know. Okay, when you get sick, or let's not when you get sick, when you have a foreign entity that enters the body, antigens within your blood attach themselves to it. They find a foreign entity within the body. Their job is to attach themselves to it because that particular hormone is what attracts the blood cells to destroy whatever is in your body that can make you sick. We, as black people, have a high level of antigens within our body and a specific type of antigen that fights against things like the flu, malaria, things that white people get, leukemia, right? We have antigens within our body that will attack those at a high rate very quickly. It causes inflammation. Automatically, we get inflamed. We get inflamed quicker than white people. So what does that mean? If you're going to be putting things to trigger antigens within our blood, we don't need as much as a white person does. This is what he was saying.
Exactly. So that's why I told you earlier, Fifth, I'm with JFK on this one. Because he's not
RFK.
saying nothing bad. He's saying the actual facts.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like we're designed different. The things that they need, they pushing protein. Our body produces that shit more
Come
naturally
on.
than everybody else.
That's right.
That's why we could just
That's right.
eat plants. Like we're really supposed to be on a plant-based diet, truthfully. You know what I'm saying? Because we're like plants in a sense. That's why we got this hue like that. We
Can I
get
say
our
some
energy
shit
from the
that-
sun. We do.
Yo,
It's-
can I say something and nobody take this shit the wrong way? Is that cool?
Yes.
Look at gorillas, bro.
Absolutely. That was
Yeah.
my
These
next
niggas
example.
don't eat meat. You
Yes.
get what I mean?
Horses.
They don't eat meat,
The
bro.
biggest animals on the planet
Horses.
don't eat meat.
Yeah, they don't eat meat, bro. Like, and I'm looking at this shit like, why you keep? So I go back, right? We go. Let's go travel back before man know how to make fire. How is man eating? How are people eating before you make fire? You're not
It's
eating
put
meat
here in
unless you eat.
abundance on the earth.
You get what I mean? Like,
It's
because
already
now
provided for us. Everything
and
that we
what
need to survive.
what's in a seed? That's what it says.
Yes.
So now back in the day, the bananas in Puerto Rico, like the bananas, they have a whole bunch of seeds in them, and they're real short. They're
Yeah.
not long. They're short
Yeah.
with a bunch of seeds in them.
Real bananas. They aren't made up in a
The
lab
real ones,
or
yeah.
not hybrids of some banana that they genetically modified.
Yeah,
It's natural.
you get what I'm
Like
saying?
most of our foods.
Yeah, and that's remember how we was talking about the stomach is a second brain.
Yes.
Mhm.
There's a direct line from the brain to the stomach. So the chemicals in what you're eating actually affect your mind in real time. And we know this, bro. Go take a shot of some hard ass liquor. Pause. Go take a shot of some liquor. You get some of them, you can feel them instantly. That's because that's your bloodstream. Like when you're in the hospital, they give you an IV, you feel it instantly. It's in your bloodstream. And it's like some of us don't get that our bloodstreams are different. This is why you have DNA. When they test your DNA for a crime, they can tell the difference of who's who. So Jamar was alluded to this earlier, and I don't want to take from his argument, bro. So, guy, I'm gonna let y'all cook. Do what you. Shout out to everybody in the building. Hit that like button if you're not subscribed. Definitely
Peace to the
subscribe.
panel.
Yeah, I don't want to move too fast, so we're gonna take this slow. Share my screen. You got to understand all these terminologies before we move slow, before we move ahead, and what an antigen's job is. Okay, so the
Can you zoom in
antigens
a little bit?
are substances, yeah, that trigger the immune system to produce antibodies to fight them off. Antigens can be found on the surface of cells, viruses, bacteria, fungi, and other substances. Okay, this is how they work. The body encounters the antigen. The immune system automatically kicks in and recognizes the antigen as a foreign entity. And then your blood cells produce antibodies to attach to the antigen. The antibodies signal the immune system to attack and destroy the system. Okay, so as you see here, we have SARS, COVID as one of them, is a virus that contains antigens that can be detected in antigen tests, right? Bacteria, antigens on bacteria can trigger an immune response. Chemicals, drugs, those can be antigens. And red blood cells, antigens and on red blood cells determine blood type. So depending upon the type of, and this is the key word, antigens is going to tell us what your blood type is, right? So if you notice, that's the first word that he said when they asked him, when she said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, Black people have a certain type of antigen. Okay. Now, these are the things that are not being talked about that must be talked about. What antigen are we talking about? Let's bring that up here. Hold on. It's a specific antigen. We're going in today. We're not even going to play with it. So when people start saying you don't know what you're talking about, you can actually give them the name of the antigen that he's specifically talking about. Okay.
Just remember to zoom in, brother.
Yep. All right. So here's some blood group antigens that you can look at. Here's the one for malaria. The Duffy antigen, FY, is commonly absent in many people of African descent, providing resistance to Plasmodium vivax malaria. So we don't get malaria as quickly as other people who don't have the absence of that antigen. Black individuals have a higher frequency of type O blood, which has implications for immune responses and disease susceptibility. Human leukocyte. You ever hear somebody got leukemia? You see the root word here? Leukocyte antigen. HeLa, HLA, not the HeLa that we were talking about, but you can see how it relates, right? The HeLa system determines how the immune system recognizes foreign invaders. It's the system, that's the system that determines how we figure out what's going on. African populations have the highest HLA diversity, giving broader immune responses, but also making organ transplants more challenging, right? So there's pros and cons to this. We can't accept everything from organs from any and all everybody. You got to be O negative. That's what we were talking about earlier. Natural killer, NK cell receptors, genetic variations, or we call killer cell, immunoglobulin-like receptors affect immune responses and disease resistance. So as you see, there's all different types, right? Autoimmune ones. This is a big one here. This is where HIV sits and lingers, right? And lupus, that's an autoimmune disease. Studies show Black individuals tend to have higher immune activation levels, leading to a stronger inflammatory response. So when you start swelling or you get swollen, we swell quicker than other races. This may contribute to higher rates of conditions like lupus and certain autoimmune diseases. Okay? Everybody could benefit from taking a little bit of a biology class to learn how the cell works on a molecular scale, all the way up to becoming an organ, and then how the organs become systems when they work together with each other. You understand? This is basic biology. And what he was kicking, you ain't got to be a doctor to know. That's that part. Okay?
It was fair.
She's assuming you need to be super smart to understand this simply because she's stupid.
Facts. And she was scared.
That's
She
it.
let that fear, like,
You learn this in high school, family.
man.
This is not something you learn in a college class. You don't pay for this stuff. You learn this in high school, in grade school. Before you graduate 12th grade, you learn this. This is not new to me, and I didn't learn it in medical school. I went to medical school to expand upon what I learned in high school, which was this. Do you understand? This is the basics of biology. So, you
That's
know,
crazy though.
yeah.
Can I chime in real quick?
So you responded to it the same way I did. I looked at her, I was like, yo, see this, and this is why, like, and she using the air hams and all that stuff, like that
Yeah.
was dangerous for her to even come out her mouth, because she's not a medical professional at all. She just heard that black people ain't getting the same treatment as white people, and she went off. That, I'm telling you, that's her fear is going to be the thing that she manifests into her reality.
So
You
that's
can
what I
see
was
the-
talking.
Go ahead.
So that's what I was talking about right there. My bad. So it's like I don't feel. I'm not gonna go as far as to say she's unintelligent. I'm gonna be a little
In that
politer
area.
with
She
it.
said some stupid shit though.
So all I'm gonna say is she's more closed-minded than she should be, and she's real quick to shun it instead of at least attempting to accept what's being told and listen to comprehend, not listen to respond.
Yes.
Because her response, because if you're listening to what he's saying, you can't comprehend everything he said in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You're not even giving, you're not respecting his response and topic at hand to comprehend what he's saying.
Especially
Because if you really sit down and look, everybody, you can have an entire different diet from your sibling.
yes,
Your entire sibling,
Yes.
you can have an entire different diet.
yes.
That's to show you just how different you and your sibling can be. That's
Yup.
just a real small example, sample size of what we are talking about.
And
Am
you
I
could be
correct?
Same parents, and you could have a totally different diet, a totally different genetic makeup. And we're gonna go into that. I'm glad you said that, because it's time to start going into that now, so that you can understand why he said what he said. Understand this, family, and I'm going to say this before we delve into it and get through sources, but every human being on this planet is a one-to-one. Everyone has their own fingerprint. There is no two people that are alike.
Even
So-
identical twins ain't alike.
Even
You're right.
identical twins, right? So how then can you manufacture any vaccine that works for every single person with no variation to it? How does that work? We know that doesn't work. Just off of that concept alone, when you know every single person is different, even foundationally, how our genetic code is put together, the letters, how the ladders are attached to one another, the deoxyribonucleic acid, everybody combination is completely different. So on a basic level, without knowing any science, you can kind of wrap your head around this a little bit. Okay. Now, let's delve into why there's a difference. Okay. The reason why there's a difference, and we talked about this a little bit last time, is there's a common ancestor that white people share. Okay. And there's several of them, whether it be from the Denisovan or the Neanderthal. The Neanderthal, that variant is what brings a lot of disease to white people and sickness that they deal with, and the genetic variations that they have from us. It's the Neanderthal variant. Okay. So we're gonna tap into that a little bit.
So hold on, let me chime in. Whoa, before you go in a little bit further, I want to make everyone aware in the building. The topics we're talking about are the topics that need to be spoken upon, right? We are not offending anyone. We're dealing with facts.
Yes.
You cannot get offended over the fact of life.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? The only thing you can get offended is how we package it. But trust me, we're gonna package this correctly. But you can't I can't get offended that this dude, Uncle Duke, got longer hair than me. How am I gonna get offended? We're born the same day, same year, same month. I was just born 45 minutes before him. This is 100% fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying? You get what I mean? We were just born in two different locations at the same time. Literally, same day type shit. So what we got here, my brother?
It's just we have different genetics.
Yeah, so we gonna pack this, but go ahead, my bad.
So let's unpack this. We got a source in the feed if you guys want to follow along. It's in the chat. Okay. So what we're simply doing here is we're establishing not that one race is better than another. Okay, let's be clear about this. Okay, it's not about who's better. It's about adaptability and where you are. Okay. Black people in certain environments thrive more so than white people. What are those environments? The natural environments, out in the sun, right? Around vegetation, eating vegetation, things of that nature. We thrive in those spaces. White people will thrive, and those who have a higher count like that will thrive in more indoor environments, covering the sun, caves and things of that nature, or even woods, right?
Even like the cold,
Arctic,
like the Arctics and
Arctic, colder
things like that, because they can hold they body hold more ammonia, which keeps them warm.
Yes, genetically, they have more fat on their bodies genetically, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. They are born with more fat on their bodies, more layers on their skin, and they also have noses that are thinner, which warms the air coming in. Our noses are wider, so it cools the air as it comes in, because we're meant for warmer climates. Does that make sense, family? So naturally, we automatically adapt. Okay. So this particular article that I'm putting up here is so that you can see why there's a difference, what that difference is. And it's because of the introduction of the Neanderthal variant. Africans and Europeans have genetically different immune systems. This is literally, quote, almost word for word what he said, y'all. And she stopped him before he can get to this part. And Neanderthals have something to do. All he said was this right here, and she stopped him and said, "You're dangerous." Okay? So I want y'all to go through this article and read it, because it's going to tell you the differences, why we are different, okay, and why we are the way that we are. It talks about the RNA, talks about DNA, the whole 9 yards, and what Neanderthals introduced that made us different. Okay, here's one here. Their first observation was that the amplitude of the immune system in Africans and Europeans differed, especially in the case of genes involved in inflammatory and antiviral responses. These differences can largely be attributed to genetic variants distributed differently among Africans and Europeans, which modulate the expression of immunity genes. This finding offers insights that can help shed light on why some populations are particularly susceptible to diseases such as lupus, which is more common in Africa than in Europe. Okay? So we literally use this on a regular basis. This science is not old. I mean, not new, sorry. This science is not new. We've been doing this for a while. Since we got Henrietta Lacks back in 1951, we've been on this wave. She late to the party, okay? So we already know what's going on. So now that we know by design, just by default.
Can you copy and paste that link in the private chat so I can put it in the chat over here?
I got you. Hold on. Okay, 1 second, family.
So that link that he was just talking about to that site is right there. I just posted it in the chat. You know what I mean? That's what you see right there. So in case you want it, so that's so you can read the article. Same thing with Duke. He just posted that in his chat. So in case you want to, because remember, when you're posting in your chat, we can't see it in our chat. So I just want, so when everybody's like, yo, we can't, so then boom, the info's there.
There you go. So when we have these discussions, when you guys have these discussions, you can start sharing the sources, you want to source up. So let's talk a little bit about genetics really quick. It's going to be a quick, really brief lesson. We're going to talk about something called the Punnett square. You guys familiar with that? Okay. The Punnett square. This is like 7th grade science. The Punnett square. And we're going to talk about genetics. The Punnett square, let me pull this up here, is important because it shows you why certain genetics pass through and why certain genetics don't between a black person and people of other races. This is how you determine whether you're going to have blue eyes, brown eyes, things of that nature, okay? So family, what I want you to do is the big G represents melanated people, black and brown people. The little g represents white people or people who have an absence of melanin. When you put the two together, it shows you what the likely result is in the child. So if I take a G here, a green, and I put it with a white person, you can get a mixed big G and little g, right? If I take a little g, a white person, and put them with a white person, you're never going to get a big G. It's always going to downgrade from there to a little g. Do you understand? Unless you introduce a big G, the big G will not be in the blood. Do we understand that so far? This is the reason why your eyes are brown and they're not blue. It's because the brown color is a dominant color. It's a dominant gene. It's the big G. The blue is recessive. So when the brown is introduced to the blue, there's a higher percent chance that the eyes are going to come out brown. And this is just 2 different variants. This is not all the different types of DNA that you have within your body. We have all different types of variants. Yes, that's what makes you, you, and me, right? You can add 2, 3, 4 more letters in that. Let me see if I can show you what that Punnett would look like really quick. And then we'll keep it pushing. Okay, let me share this.
Talk about getting put on the game. You see what I'm saying when I said we were switching lanes? See what I'm saying? Get in that chat section, man. If you have a question and you want to get your question answered because it's not getting answered in the chat, you could definitely super chat the question and we will answer it. Are we looking at my brother?
If we wanted to double down on these ratios and add 2 more different variants, like let's say, I don't know, hair length, or whether or not you're born with eczema or something like that, or some sort of disease, right? Now you're adding more variants. Some are dominant, some are recessive. Do we understand, family? This is what you have to look at when you're saying, when somebody says, oh yeah, I'm black, you're looking at these percentages here. When you're saying I'm black African or whatever, I have African descent in me. Certain things that come with these variants are going to be in your blood because you have that in you and it's dominant. It's going to show up in the physical form at some point. Do we understand? So what he's telling you is that by design, black people and people who have black blood within them have certain variants that are turned on or turned off, for that matter, that give them an advantage in this space when we're talking about vaccines, when we're talking about certain diseases, or a disadvantage. It all depends upon what you're talking about, right? It would be a disadvantage if we were in the snow. Not having thick skin would be a disadvantage, yes? So what he's saying in terms of viruses, black people's blood is thicker, stronger. We have more antigens. We have more things that show up immediately without any help from the outside to fight that off. Why we've been here longer? It's been introduced to us already. Ain't nothing new under the sun. We've seen it already. So our blood responds quicker. It inflames quicker. So you don't want to give it an overdoses of that. It's just like if you're giving a kid adult medicine. They don't need the whole full dose. They only need a
Correct.
little bit. Their immune systems are stronger.
It's so
than
stronger, yeah,
You
because it's more
understand?
newer. You are correct.
Yes.
So I've seen videos, right? I've seen videos, and I should have.
like share,
I seen the videos. Check, definitely like, share, and subscribe. That's a fact. You don't got to whisper that. You know, you can always repeat that. But I seen a video, right, where they were showing some Africans in like Alaska somewhere. In the beginning, for like the first couple weeks, they were cold. Then they said they started seeing them out there with no shirts on, no shoes, running around, swimming in the water. They got videos of them. Some of them are in the water. Some are just sitting on the snow with no shirts on. And they're like, the people that are taking the video, they're like, yo, we are freezing. How are they? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are taking the video super cold, and you're looking at black people. I don't know if they're, I just know that they're black people, and they're swimming in the same water with snow. Yeah. I'm like, and he's like, yo, because that's how I feel. I'm like, yo, when I'm underwater, it's like our bodies adapt. And that's what I was talking about. Remember how I said, this is how you know when you're made for this realm. If we go back to a moment, because I don't really believe in time. So if we go back to a moment where there was no structures, there's no houses, none of that should exist yet.
Yeah.
How are you surviving under the sun?
Right.
You know what I mean? If your skin does not tan, that means you're going to get some type of what we call today skin cancer of some sort, because your skin won't adapt, and now you won't be here anymore. So now what is the effect? When I go to the beach, I get hella dark like this. It's one day like this. That's it. Yeah. You get what I mean? Yeah. And because I've been locked up so much, I get light quick now because I spent so many years in prison. So I get light fast and I get darker fast. I don't burn. I don't know. And this is the next day I wake up and boom, that's how it works for me. You know what I'm saying? So now, like I was saying, like, if you don't, all right, I'm gonna hold off what I'm about to say because it's about to be more towards the bloodline and less towards this. So I'm gonna hold that part for when we spin the block on the rest of the video. Go ahead, my bud.
So with that being said, you know, we have been for years been judged on a health index that isn't about us. Okay. So like when they look at you, you know, black woman, and they say, oh, you know, you're overweight, whatever it is, you know, sometimes that's natural for you because you retain more water than white people do because you're designed to live in hotter climates. So your weight is going to be more than them in a certain time space. Okay. So now, but the interesting thing is, like I said earlier, white people are born with, or Europeans, people of European descent, I don't want to keep saying white, European descent are born with more fat genetically than black people. We have more muscle disposition, right? So now watch how this literally just exposes the Food and Drug Administration. The majority of the deaths when dealing with diabetes and things of that nature literally come from us not knowing what our diet is supposed to be. Obesity. We are the highest in obesity. Black people, we are collectively more obese than Europeans and die from the things that come with obesity more than white people. Let's bring it up. Source it up. We're not playing today. So what does that mean? If we are born with less fat, but we are dying from the complications of being fat, what's happening? It's because the index at which we are eating and the things that we are exposed to don't complement and vitalize our bodies. Idealistically, you're only supposed to have one meal a day, family. One meal a day is what we're supposed to be operating on. Look at how the ancients move. They would go out, hunt, do what they got to do. End of the day, they're all eating and they're breaking bread. They would get up early in the morning. Just look at how your ancestors rolled, right? During the day, you harvesting, you working, You know what I mean? Take a little water break, whatever it is, boom, boom, boom. When it's time to eat, everybody sits down and they have that one meal as a family. That's how they used to do it. They wasn't stopping and then walking back another 8 hours back home to get lunch. No, they might have some dates. That's what I was doing when I was out in Egypt. They hand you dates, and we was like eating dates and drinking tea at most. You know what I'm saying? When it's dinner time, we all sit down together and we have dinner. Go ahead.
So check this out. Just how you were saying about the DNA, right? Check this out. So now imagine going through some shit like this. This is gonna be totally opposite to what we were just saying, but more in line to what we're talking about right now. Imagine having to feed your family like this, bro. Imagine. Hold on. Because I haven't.
Was that the water people? The ones that go all the way down?
Nah. Nope.
Okay.
He has never been a great believer in Blais's
This
magic.
shit bugging down. Hold on a second. For real quick, you see what you're looking at? You see what that man created? Imagine doing this to feed your family. That's the purpose of this little 4-minute video.
Caught a shark. With
So
his
now
bare
the point
hand,
is,
and
so
it
now
beat him across the
imagine,
head.
yo, real talk, bro. There's another video like that, right? With somebody else. Dude looked like he was born in the gym. They show him going out into the water. Dude got like, he looked like what we would call Native Americans type shit, where no sneakers, no socks, he just wearing the shit covering his private parts, bro. He gets in a boat like that. He goes out there, does the same type of shit, grabs his shark, pulls it in, he hacks off the fins immediately. So now imagine, this is what you got to go through. If you don't do this, your family don't eat.
Right.
So now imagine you're out there, even if it's not in the water, you're in the jungle trying to capture an animal, trying to feed your family, right? But you're outside in the sun, is the point.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You're in the sun. So if your skin is not adapting, that's just facts, bro. How can you get mad at a fact?
You wouldn't survive.
You get what I'm saying? That shit ain't surviving, bro.
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So now, how you were talking about the genetics, what's stronger, what's weaker, right?
And that's just skin, right? You just talking skin color. We're not talking.
We ain't even go nowhere else.
We didn't even. Yeah, we ain't going nowhere else. That's just one variable, right? The color of your skin. What else is in that? His muscle composition. You see how muscular he is for his age? Look
He
at
didn't
him.
even let me get there. Yeah.
Yeah, he ain't in the gym every day, family. He's just out there doing what he got to do to eat. It ain't nothing crazy. You know what I mean? That's his everyday life. Can you be obese on that little boat? No, you will sink. That boat going down because you got to come home with
Yo,
a
that
shark.
shark eating you.
Come
Shark
on.
eating you.
You see what I'm saying? So you're talking hundreds and thousands of years of black people doing that for survival. It's in our DNA to be like this, to be muscular, to be slim, to be toned, to be dark, to be able to absorb the sunlight and use it for vitality, for our hair to be coarse so that we can create electrical currents with it. You understand? All of this stuff is about natural selection and evolution teaming up together to make the perfect species to survive on this planet. You understand? So you can't let nobody put you in no index and say that this is what you should be doing and what because some people, I might not be attached to his tribe. My tribe could have been on land where we ate nothing but fruits and
More
vegetables, and
inland.
maybe even sometimes meat.
Yeah, more inland. You know?
More inland. So depending
Mm.
upon your lineage and where you came from, you have to dictate what you should be consuming to maintain vitality because you come from a specific set of programming. You can't
Correct.
just, and this is the thing that I tell other black people too, and they be like, oh yeah, I'm conscious now, so I ain't eating meat no more. Bro, you better wean yourself off. You don't just go cold turkey and be like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat. Bro, you have years and years of programming that your body has
addicted to that shit.
you will put yourself in shock and you will lose so much muscle mass and your body can literally go into a downward spiral simply because you killed the appetite that you were born and raised on. Some of y'all is too late. But some of y'all is too late. You ever have somebody, they smoking cigarettes, boom, boom, boom. They smoking cigarettes all their life and as soon as they quit, they get COPD. All of a sudden now they sick and they can't breathe properly because they stopped what they've been doing. You take
like
take
alcohol.
crack from a crackhead. Just take it
Yeah,
from
no. That's a fact for alcoholics. Yeah, if you go cold turkey, you can actually die from that.
Watch
You know
what
what I mean?
happens.
Even some circumstances with heroin, if you get off the wrong way with certain, you can die from. These are facts. You're not lying about that. So now hold on. Hold on. So now remember, because these are all different levels of the same topic. Don't think that they're separate.
Right. This is
your skin is just the outer layer.
Yes.
We want you to concentrate on the inner layer, on the ends, but we need you to comprehend how all of it's important. It's not one more important than the other. They're all important because, like we said earlier, you and your sibling can have two different diets. Two identical twins don't have the same fingerprints. The DNA is different between the father and son, brother and sister. It's a little bit, it's just we don't have the technology to identify it yet, but it's there. You can see it. You can see it. It's there. So now, certain foods people ain't supposed to eat because they don't genetically. So you got to remember, a lot of this stuff is in your body, right? But now what part of the DNA is actually active in you is different.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Because some of this stuff is already in your bloodline.
Yes.
That's what people don't get. You get what I'm saying? A lot of these are chemicals that are already in your cerebral brain. They're already in the cortex. They're already in your pathway. So now, like I said, I'm going to say this shit all the way wrong. Okay, I'm gonna prepare you guys. Dimethyltryptamine. I fucked that all the way up. DMT. Everybody know that shit by DMT. It's like dimethyltryptamine, some crazy shit, right? So this is the liquid that's in your brain when you're in that creation stage. And that shit is like flooded. The more when you're trying to create something, that's the liquid that's in your brain, the DMT. Now you could get an outsource of that, as with the pills what Joe Rogan was talking about, to help increase your brain function. DMT. Because that liquid is it's already in your brain. It's a chemical that's in your brain, and you're just giving your brain more of that same chemical. You don't get high. It doesn't do none of that. It helps you concentrate more. It's gonna sound weird for some of y'all street people. It's gonna help nerds nerd out more. Get what I'm saying? If some of y'all ain't ready for that. What are we looking at here, my brother?
We're gonna veggie back off of what you just said, and we're gonna look at how many variants can be in a human being. The human genome contains 20,000 to 25,000 protein coding genes. But the number of physical variants, like stuff that you can actually see that can be manifested through DNA, is incredibly vast due to the following factors. Genetic variants in DNA, of course, we just talked about it. Humans have 3 billion base parts.
I'm sorry, can you zoom in, please?
Base pairs, rather. Sorry.
Can you zoom in, please? I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Human beings have 3 billion base pairs in DNA. 3 billion. There are millions of genetic variants. That's how many times you can differ from the next person. Every person has 4 to 5 million single nucleotide polymorphisms, or what they call SNPs, which are small variations in their DNA sequence. And this is what you want to concentrate on. Those little things makes the difference between, I don't know, you being lactose intolerant and, like you can see down here, your metabolism, being an alcoholic, whatever it is. That one little door open or closed is what makes you. That's the difference. It determines whether or not you're musically inclined or a mathematical genius.
So now so hold on. That one little difference is what we saying. So now that one little difference in his DNA is that one little difference in my. So my diet, I might need more seafood. His diet, he might not.
Right.
Duke's diet, he might need more meat, or he might need more pineapple. Whatever it is, that's what we're
more
trying to say.
Because I don't.
Yeah,
I know. That's why
I grew up like that. So
I said
even when
that.
I was younger, they should try to feed me meat. I should spit it out. I don't want that.
I said that.
I
said meat then pineapple.
What it provides for you.
Yeah, get what I'm saying? Because it's already up there. So now it's like, so when people are like, yo, you just said plants, now you saying this because everyone's what you need might not be what I need, might not be what he needs. Because like a puzzle piece, that's why I keep going back to that. I keep spinning the block on that. You know what I'm saying? Because what he said, and I'm glad that this exchange happened like this. because I really think that as a society, we don't like having these conversations, but to push through the threshold to receive the information we're looking for, we have to push through the threshold. We have to have the conversations that are uncomfortable so we can retrieve the information and combine it so we can receive to get closer to what we're trying to get to.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is more the truth and the facts. And how does this affect us? Well, maybe if you know that your great grandmother was like this, maybe you should stay away from that because it could probably activate this in your blood. And now you probably can't even see no more. You know what I'm saying? Now that shit just affected you. You
right.
know what I'm saying? Now you blind. Now you got something like, because I'm laughing, and now you might have activated some shit. Now you got glaucoma. Or you could have cataracts now. So just to bring it home more.
You would have known that. You know what I'm saying? Had you done the knowledge, and this is why knowledge itself is important. Oh, what we study in history for, what we study in the past, and you need to know where you come from. You need to know who your ancestors are. You need to know what their strengths and weaknesses are, so you know how to move forward. And even on procreation, there's a reason why when you get married, they say, "Oh, we got to take a blood test." Why they tell you get a blood test before marriage? Because if you're procreating, you want to see what diseases might potentially show up or not show up. You want to make sure that your blood is compatible.
And then nowadays, these people with money, they're picking their children. They're choosing the children's eyes, what color. Now, when you got enough financial status and you know the right people, you can actually genetic. And I don't want to say this the wrong way. I just thought about what the hell I'm about to say on the internet.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know, but you know, I don't want YouTube to smack this live in the face while we're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
We got Trump right now.
So now these people have the access to have the right doctors where they can pinpoint which gene to put in a certain pool to create the type of baby that they want to look, and actually the image, they can create it the way they want it to be. And salute to Back Up on TV for the $1.99 super chat. Deep combo, that's a fact, bro. Get what I'm saying? Because I even think, and I say this a lot, there's a saying I like to use for Big Pharma. Big Pharma. This is how it goes. A cured patient is a lost client.
That's a fact.
You get what I'm saying? They cure you, they're going to lose. So curing you is never the option. Right. So you get shit like, I think it's Tylenol or Advil. One of them, I forget which one it is. One of them just come from cherries. Back in the day in the war, I think World War I, they used to put cherries. I think it was cherries inside the gunshot wounds of the war. That's what the soldiers used to say, and it would numb. That's where that Advil, one of them two come from cherries, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking, because all these shits are chemicals that are in the brain. Like you have a pain receptor in there, and now the chemical gets in the brain, and now it floods because it's a neural system. Because we might think it's instant, but remember, it takes a moment for your mind to tell your hand to move. It takes a moment, even though it seems instant. Because now you get things like, I went through this. I had a diet kick in on me for no reason. My body just started rejecting ham when I was a kid and I used to love ham, and out of nowhere, and there was nothing wrong with it because my brother finished the sandwich, and I can never eat ham again. But what we looking at here, my brother?
All right, so now you're looking at the different variants that can physically manifest. So we have polygenetic traits, which are, most traits are controlled by hundreds of thousands of genes. For example, like your height is influenced by over 700 different genetic codes, right? Then we have epigenetics, which is your environment, right? And this is very, very important. Diet, stress, chemicals, modify gene expression without changing DNA. This is important. This is what European society literally stands on. Hold on, let me stop sharing this for a second so y'all can see me face to face on this. This is what they stand on, epigenetics, because they can't change our DNA too much. They need to leave us pure because they need us to survive. We have the variants that they need for their survival here. You understand? So what do? They keep you in conditions and environments that alter your status so that you can't be great, so that you're confused, so that you're disoriented, dealing with trauma, childhood trauma, adult trauma, seeing people getting shot in the street dead by, all these different things literally change your DNA. It's saying it right here in black and white. It literally changes your DNA. That's epigenetics. right? So when somebody says, oh yeah, you know, I'm a diabetic, I got it from my mama. No, not necessarily. It could have been turned off, but because you practice the same eating habits as your mama, it's turned on. Because you go to the church where they serve you the fried chicken after service and the ham, you're obese. You see? That's epigenetics. That's your environment and the things that you're into that can alter and
the
change
things
your
around
DNA.
you.
Yes.
Yep, because that's what you're consuming. This is
Yes.
part of what's around you. Because if it's not around you, how can you consume it?
Exactly.
When you're hungry and then it's in your body. So we know what's in your body resonates in your kidneys, and whatever you digest goes into your bloodstream. And
Just
enough
like
of
you're
it
in the
will
environment. You don't even have to partake.
your
You're in the environment. So your vibration is on the same frequency. You understand? You never notice you go to church? Go to a black church. You're gonna find the most obese black motherfuckers you ever seen. I promise you that. I've been there my whole life. Huh?
Yo, you wild for respect
They all
saying that
gonna
like
look the
that.
same. Overweight
you
from
wild
the
for
pastor
respect.
on down. We keeping it a bean here. That is epigenetics. Everybody who's walking through the door is vibrating on the same frequency.
Even negative thinking, epigenetics.
Epigenetics, negative thinking, all of that, or positive thinking. It works both ways, family. It's like, oh yeah, you know, this disease was passed down from my elders and my mother and my father. And intelligence is too. Strength is too. Vitality is too. Ambition is too. All the good things. We talk about the negative things, but what about the good things that get passed down? If you can pass down the negative, you can pass down the good too. And you can trigger the good too, the same way you can trigger the closed doors of the negative. You understand? So now, going back, yeah, it is deep, right, Jerome? That's deep. Because you can take that to a whole nother lesson. Okay? But going back to RFK and what he was mentioning about how black people are different, and that's all he was saying is that we're different, and she was offended by that. That's when you're looking at coonery. Oh, I'm not like you? No, you're not, and that's okay. That is a-okay. No matter where you come from, no matter what your disposition is, you are valuable here. It's just like it's like playing a basketball. You got a point guard and you got a center. You don't want the point guard doing what the center's supposed to do. You don't want
Unless
him
it's
doing
Magic
what the power
Johnson and
forward's
LeBron
supposed to
James.
do.
Yep.
Everybody has their right. You go and you
Position,
build a
correct.
character. Go and play a video game and build your character from scratch. You'll see he'll have strengths and weaknesses. That's what the weaknesses. That's what you got other people for, right?
Puzzle
You delegate
pieces.
for that. That's what you're seeing on this channel. You're seeing people come together. Oh, this is a win-win. I'm good at this. You're good at this. Let's come together. Let's build something great. Do you understand? So what he was saying was not false, first and foremost, because there is a demographic of black people that think that it was false. No, scientifically, we are very much different. Okay. But we are still the same species. We can procreate with one another. Why? Because we have a common ancestor. Does that make sense?
That's a whole fact, because just the fact that we all take different medications should show you that we're all different. Just the fact that when you got a relative, right? This is a way to make it hit at home real quick. If you got a relative that might have had Alzheimer's, right? Maybe let's say one of your aunts did, but your mom didn't. That should show you we're different. It should show you that the bloodline before you is different. Let's say you got a relative that has asthma, but you don't. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you got something that maybe you need glasses and your sibling don't.
Right.
You can hit all the way under the same roof with it.
Whole family
Maybe
except for me.
you and your brother don't have the same shoe size, right?
Right.
Yeah, how about that one? You don't got
Right.
even twins sometimes you don't got the same shoe size, right? Because we're all different. We're all a one of one, which is where he started at. We're all a one of one. You know what I'm saying? You're the only swimmer that won that race. You heard me?
Right.
You said you're the only, bring that shit out of the way, man. You're the only swimmer that won that race. Don't forget that. Like, don't
And when you
forget
think
that.
about it,
Because
like just like how beautiful that is, there's so many different variations that the chances of two people being identical is impossible. Like, just think about that. At one given time on this planet, you will never find the same exact human being. It just won't happen. So with that being said, you have to treat everyone as such. You should, if they're going to take our DNA tests and we use DNA tests, it should be for medical purposes so that we can get custom vaccines. I don't need to get the same amount of stuff that this person is getting. I know for a fact I'm healthier than most people. I know that. I don't need the same dose that you're giving him. Now, some people are predispositioned to sickness. You might need the whole package.
You know what I mean? More.
Yeah.
So wait. So hold on. So you telling me? So So they telling me that a 15-year-old needs the same amount of medicine that an 80-year-old do? How much sense does that even make? Because that 15-year-old's immune system is a lot stronger than that 80-year-old. Are you trying to make this 15-year-old's immune system weak enough so he can become reliant on that type of shit now?
Yes.
Because that shit don't even make sense. You should be giving him less and giving the other dude more. There should be some type of variation, a variant. You know what I mean?
Because the vaccine opens the doors so that we can change the locks and make sure that whatever monster that is in there doesn't get out. But the part that people skip over is that some of you have already done that work. Your ancestors did it for you. They already locked the door for you. The monster is inside, locked up. Here comes the vaccine. Like, we're just doing our health check, and they open up the door and let the monster out. Now you got to deal with something you didn't even have a problem with. It was already done.
You didn't even know about
years ago. Yeah, we don't need that key. We don't want that one. We want the other key for this door that doesn't have a lock on it, right? Everyone's doors that is open or ajar is different. That's what the variants are. That's why what he was saying was important and why we need to gather around that and rally around that ideology as a collective, as a people. This ain't just about black people. This is about all races. All races need a specific type of vaccine for that specific type of person, that individual. Facts. Do you understand?
Facts. Straight facts.
This is what we wanted to. This is what I wanted to bring to y'all today. We do want to get into some current events. If you like what you're hearing, family, feel free to like, share, comment. Definitely use the super chat if you have questions about what we're talking about. If you use the super chat, we'll answer your questions at the end of this, and make sure that we get those answers to you. So yesterday, before we move forward with the question and answer, I have to answer a question from yesterday by Billy O. Billy O asked me.
So he wanted me to thank you for that $199 super check. Oh, you already got it right there? Because look, Loving the Direction is channel 5100. Jamar, yo, that's you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Watch. When Duke is gonna get in, watch, because we are offering different things. That's what y'all don't get. This is like a baseball team, bro. We all play different positions, like he's saying. You know what I'm saying? We all have different ingredients. Why? This is only the beginning. This is only episode 2, but definitely appreciate that, man. So you got your book? You got the book ready?
So I'm going to, I have a book because Bill O wanted a reference to yesterday when I said that the Moors were teachers, and the same word that they use in the Medu Neter for teaching correlates to the word Moor in ancient Kemet. And he said he needs a source for that. The only place you're going to find this is in a collegiate level book of learning Egyptian grammar. And the name of the book, let me get rid of my background.
You might have to, your background, bro.
We're going to go to the crib for a second. The only book that one of the only books is Egyptian Grammar by Gardner. This is a collegiate level. You want the 3rd edition. This is a collegiate level reference book on the Medu Neter to teach you how to read hieroglyphs. Okay, this is the reference for that. And where you're going to go is in the back of this book. It has literally the entire vocabulary of the Medu Neter, of the ancient Egyptians. Okay, and it breaks down word for word. So I'm going to show you 2 things here so that, so you can understand how this language works in terms of pictures and hieroglyphs and what you see. So let me share my
I
screen.
promise you. Yeah, I gotta interrupt you. I gotta
Go ahead.
interrupt your wisdom, as Billy O would say. I promise you. Once I get enough dough on these super chats to get a Dreamcast, then there should be bombs dropping right there. There should have been Bad Folk Flex bombs dropping right there, B. I don't hear them. I don't hear them. I don't know what's going on. I don't hear the bombs dropping. I know you're doing them, but I can't hear the bombs dropping. I don't know why.
We're sourcing up, baby.
Let's get it. We're gonna take us off. It don't matter. We can stay on the screen. Let me see where we are. It don't matter.
All right. So here you see the word more in the middle. You see that? MOOR. Right? But if you notice, it says VB next to it. Do you know what that means?
Learn me, my brother. No, I do not know what VB means.
VB means the word more is an action word in ancient Kemet. It's a verb.
Okay.
Okay.
So VB means the word verb.
VB means verb. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There's a better way of doing that. VB
Yes.
means verb. Got you.
So to do more in ancient Egypt, to be in more, it's not a noun. It's something that you do. And now when you look at this, let me see if I can get in closer here. Let me see if I can zoom. I don't think I can zoom though, because it's a picture. Yeah, I can't zoom on it. Let me see.
I still think you can zoom in on the picture.
Can I? Let me see.
I believe so. There you go. Oh,
Here we go.
Shit.
This is how it's written in the glyph. And the thing that I want you to pay close attention to is the determinative. The determinative is that little figure at the end. Can y'all see this? Did it highlight?
Talking about the dude, right?
The little man with the stick.
With the, yeah.
That's called a determinative when you're reading the Medonetter, when you're reading hieroglyphs. Okay.
Well, hold on. How do you know that? How do you know that that means what you just said?
He just showed you the
that's
book.
what it's called. So it's
Okay.
So what does the determinative do? The determinative is telling you how you should read this sentence when you have symbols that mean more than one thing, because the letter structures aren't that many letters, right?
Okay.
So putting them together, the determinative at the end of the sentence gives you a context as to what they're talking about. Okay. So when you look at this determinative, you see the man with the stick, which means like he's showing some effort or force in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It's a category.
Copy.
So, right? So this is a verb. Now I'm going to go to the word to teach. Close that window.
Yo, salute to Alicia with the $20 super chat over there, bro. That's for you. No question, but definitely wanted to show support to the channel. These are amazing conversations that are necessary. Keep doing what you gentlemen are doing. Thank you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you as a viewer and subscriber. Hope you subscribe to all the channels. Oh, we got another screen share.
Ready to show thyself approved. That's what we're doing. All right. So now, do y'all see?
I see teach and I see the little dude. I see the little dude right there. Yeah.
The word to teach is literally in the word more. You see that? It's the same.
Oh, I didn't correlate that shit. Oh, shit. I was like, what the hell? Because my next question was, I was waiting for you to finish talking to say, how does out of all those pictures, that one picture correlates over there? Okay, you're saying that this word is in, the two words are mixed together, basically.
It's like if you took a suffix and a prefix and put it together so you can understand what's going on.
It's like a M.
Like
you put the two shapes together.
Biology.
Okay, perfect.
We know ology means to study, the study of. Right?
Correct.
That's exactly what this is. That's where it comes from. You see? So that's a determinative. When you have that man on the end, this reads from right to left. It reads to wherever you see these facing. So you're going to read this one from right to left. If you see them facing the other direction, then you read from left to right. This one is left to right. If it's facing the other direction, you read it towards the face of wherever it's facing. So that means everything is going from left to right. So that means that this last section here is a determinative. You understand? It comes at the end. The determinative comes at the end of the sentence. You understand?
Yeah.
You know how
Copy.
sometimes in Spanish y'all kind of reverse things too, and then
I know.
context, right?
I know.
Well, just
Toilet
to
paper,
add-
paper, toilet.
Just
Right.
to add on the
Yeah.
visual, it flips. So the
It flips?
pictures flip.
So they it's flipping on you.
No. I'm just saying.
No, he's saying
for the
like it'll
recording,
turn.
when
It'll
we
turn 160.
like if I was to look at the actual, I go out of this and look at it.
180.
We're all facing a different the opposite direction.
Yes.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, so for the video itself, what we see is really flipped
inverted.
for what they see.
Inverted. It's inverted.
it's
so
it's
you see,
inverted from
facing
what they
right
see.
to left. On me is facing left to right. So the
Right.
the
'Cause
idea
right.
is wherever it's facing, that's where you start to read it from. Does that make sense? So if the bird is facing to the left, then you're going to start to read from left to right. If the bird is facing to the right, you start to read from right to left. Okay. That's how you read ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. So this is very, very important. And this is how you can see they were using the word. And you see there's no difference in how they spelt the word more. M-O-O-R. It's the same thing, but they used it as an action word before it became a person. So now if you keep committing those acts after a certain amount of time, oh, you're a Moor. You're a person who teaches. Listen, it's the same word. So
has different definition to what people think, I guess, or the word has more attachments to it than people perceive it does.
Correct. So now that word also means to put effort into something, or
So
it
I'm
also
correct.
mean to strike.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So the word has more defined definitions than people know it does.
Because it's not actually a word, it's a picture. Right? So that system is showing you that it can mean several different things. It's an effort that you're putting forth. So now what does that also tell you about the culture of teaching and what they thought about teaching? It was vigorous, it was tough, right? Because they're using the same word that they use for action, hitting somebody with a stick, right? You ever seen Catholic school when you're not paying attention, they hit you with the stick?
I was about to say that. My mom used to get hit. My father too. They went to school in PR. They used to get hit.
That's
from
right.
The teacher.
Right.
The teacher used to hit their ass.
They didn't play with
That's a
education.
fact. Yeah,
Only
that's
here
a
we
fact.
play with education. You know what I'm saying? Even back then, they did not play around with education. The two places you're going to find the major universities was ancient Egypt and Timbuktu. That's where all the scrolls and all the scholars was moving around. It wasn't like we had schools on every corner in modern. Like I told you, we try to do it with a modern mind. You got to go back. It's only two places you're going for this knowledge, baby. So they're going to take it very seriously and they're going to guard it. You see? So the words that they're using for the people that's going and teaching, you got to be one tough mofo if you're going and teaching. Because you're getting the ancient scrolls that people have to wait 40 years to go in and witness, and you going out on the road to go and teach. Right? Let's real quick. We're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna go back to the word more real quick. Just to show you something real cool.
Remember, we don't need a time constraint because that's what you want to be on. We could go on a little further if you want. And I know you want to watch the game.
I need to do the work too.
I know we got this. Trust me, we're gonna do this. We got this because you rushing. Like you get a little. I see you again. You get a little antsy. And calm down a little bit.
I'm gonna pull
Yeah,
this
there you
up.
go. We got this.
Let's go back to the word more, and you're gonna see something here. Just off the basic information that I gave y'all in reference to how they put these things together in symbols. When you look at the word more, there's several different things that you can recognize in the word. Like for instance, this little symbol down here, where you see
Maybe zoom in a little bit.
squiggly line. See that little squiggly line like that?
They're like waves.
Yes, like wavelengths, right? That's the symbol for water.
That's just what I'm saying. Waves.
That's the symbol for water, right? This up here is a cloth, or like the edge of a cloth, like the tassels and stuff like that, right? So what are we saying here? We have people who wear certain cloths who are by the water. We know that Moors were navigators, right? We know that Moors traveled, right? So they use different symbols to show you what a certain word is trying to represent, or set of symbols to give you an expression. You have to put it together and understand when they come together what they mean. You see? But
So is that a boat?
Where?
The one above the water, the little box with the lines. I don't know. You zoom back
This
up.
here?
See how you got the little lines on the bottom? The shit
No, the
above
one
it.
above the water is a cloth.
Oh, I
It's
thought
a
you were
cloth.
talking about the shit that was next to it.
No,
The two things
above
next to it.
it. Above
Oh,
it.
my bad. I
So-
thought you were talking about the two things next to it. My bad.
So they dress a certain way. You
Copy.
recognize them. You'll recognize them by what they're wearing. So when you go to Egypt, the priests wore certain clothes. The priest would wear a cheetah print. A Kemetic priest would have a cheetah print laid across his chest here, one area of his chest. That's how you know he's a priest. And he usually has a bald head. See what I'm saying? That's why I got a baldy. Okay. So it's certain things that come with it. And the more you're in the culture, the more you will recognize what it is they're trying to say, because you know what symbols that they used when they put it together. Certain symbols mean certain things when they come together, right? But that comes with time. This is just y'all literally learning like your first word here, right? Which is who the Moors were in ancient Egypt. The Moors were the teachers. And they were
So we
stern.
got a comment. We got a nice little super chat we want you to address.
Sure.
Peace, brother Milton. Definitely got to get you to Louisville, Kentucky this year. Lighthouse Strong.
Let's go, baby. You already know.
One of a kind slice of pie with the $20
I'm with
super
it.
chat. We definitely appreciate you. That's a
I'm with it.
whole fact. You know what I'm saying?
You
So,
already know.
whoa, we're going to sidetrack real quick because I feel like this comment deserves something like that. Can you give some of us some insight on what Lighthouse Strong means for some of us that might not be familiar?
No doubt. So the Lighthouse is basically anybody that considers himself a following of Jamaar Milton. We have a group of individuals that are like-minded, such as yourselves. If you've been on this feed this amount of time, I consider you a Lighthouse member off the rip. That's the family. So when we get together, we do things that we call Lighthouse Power Trips, where I travel the world, I do lectures, and we meet up. We break bread. We've gone to Egypt together, back and forth. We do all these types of things. So when people say Lighthouse, you already know that that's an OG. That's somebody that knows who I am, and that is attached to the movement. So, you know, if you're on this feed, I consider you Lighthouse all day. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Lighthouse family, we up, we strong.
That's a whole fact. Hey, Uncle Duke, man, I know you're over there absorbing a lot of this information. I get that. So before Jamaar Milton takes off again, we're gonna let his jet chill for a minute. What you think about everything that's been going on? Because you know you're a reactor. So can you react to a little bit of the information? Did you know some of this already? How do you feel about the RFK, about the whole situation, about how she presented her argument? Like, could there have been a conspiracy? Like maybe they told her to get like that, to have a little edge to your questions, to remind the people that you only have a certain amount of time, that he can't go. Are these type of things even involved, or are they meant to distract? Like, what you think?
I think that was her. That was purely her and her fear, because she only heard one thing and everything else was like just blanked out. She just wiped it all out. Only thing she heard was black people need different treatment than white people, period. And that sent her into a frenzy that I cannot stop thinking about it. The more I watch that video, the more I can't stop thinking about her reaction to it. And that's one of the problems. It's that mind frame. You get what I'm saying? And she just put that poison out to everybody that was watching. And you know, it's a lot of people that's going to agree with her. And just because she's in the position in the seat that she's in, they're going to take it for face value without even doing further research like we're doing right now. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's very destructive. And if I was to react to that, it'd be focused on her rather than our RFK and her reaction. And then how she tried to use the shaming language, which has been shaping society for like the past, 10 years? That's how they've been getting stuff done, by shaming people into doing it or shaming people away from doing certain things. That language right there is destructive. Facts.
Yeah, because these are her state of mind is her. What happened? I didn't hear you.
No, she was saying it was dangerous.
Yes, she specifically used the word dangerous, like to target a certain audience on a certain frequency in the mind, because this is what we were saying earlier, this fear.
Shaming,
right? When you're in fear, right? There's a whole bunch of shit that comes with that. And the number one thing that's in common with that is you're being protective. You're not accepting. Right. That you're not able to receive information. You're so predetermining on knowing something that you don't even know. This is literally where the word prejudice comes from. You're showing prejudice to this topic. You already like you're prejudging. It's the actual definition of prejudice, prejudging. So she has this whole negative conversation about even trying to identify everybody being different. My bad, dude. God.
No, that was my fault. She was trying to put him down for things that she didn't even know. She tried to put him down for saying, "Oh, because he's not a medical doctor." She's not either. So what makes her opinion about what's going on more stronger than what he was saying? And he got actual people running, doing the studies, doing the tests, and they studying all this stuff, and they coming out to that conclusion, which is facts. That it just blows my mind. And they got people like that sitting in the seats, pulling strings and calling shots.
Yo,
and that's
honestly,
dangerous.
You know what? You're making me want to pull up a whole video that you guys are talking about, right? It's this comedian, Bill Burr. It's Bill Burr and Joe Rogan, and they're talking about the mask. The first thing Bill Burr leads out the conversation with, "Come on, Joe, I don't want to talk about this shit. You don't got a medical degree on your wall. I don't got a medical degree on my wall. You know what I'm saying? We're not doctors. It doesn't, you get what I'm saying?" And then they laugh a little bit, like more or less, like if you don't have this, they say we can't talk about it. But meanwhile, the person that told us about all this shit, about this vaccine, how does someone, I want to word this correctly, all right? Because I already said this to you earlier, and the thumbs up was to what you wrote. All right. And don't ask me how I read that like that, because you asked me too many questions. But so now, have you ever heard of somebody getting a pardon before they ever got charged? I never heard of nothing like that.
Never.
You get what I'm saying? So now, how do you pardon Dr. Fauci for something if he didn't do nothing? Now you should start questioning what's in your body. You get what I'm saying? Like, what was actually put in the body that the doctor that said that we have to take this, that now he got a pardon? Because it's like, all of a sudden, if this person's advising the presidency, that's advising the people, why are you getting a pardon for something if you didn't do anything wrong? If you didn't even get charged? So now, if we need different shit, it goes totally against what the prior administration was endorsing. Am I correct or incorrect?
That's right. I mean, the whole Fauci situation, it was a dead giveaway. Just the whole pardon is what really solidified it home that there is some, trouble in paradise and there's some sneaky business going on. We all knew it. Sometimes we just wait for the confirmation from the government, for everybody else in government to catch up and let it hit the airwaves, and hit the news networks. A lot of the things, let's put it this way, conspiracy theories is up. They're up like 32-0 without most of the confirmations. They already knew what was going on. The confirmations are just now rolling out one by one, but they already knew. We already knew Fauci was doing us dirty. We already knew those guys. We knew the WHO was doing us dirty, the CDC. We knew all of this. You know what I'm saying? But they censored a lot of people, shut down people's channels, shut people's mouths, right? They hushed a lot of people during that time. From 2020, they've been working on that since till now. It literally the veil just opened, where people are now allowed to speak again. Kanye's going crazy. He's like, I'm loving this. You know what I mean? I still got my page and I just say crazy stuff about Jews and I'm good. Right?
Little hats, bro. Little hats.
Yeah, they had to do that.
I know. I honestly, with that old YouTube channel, bro, I kind of went through that. Mm-hmm. I had a live where I was talking about the Constitution, B. And I was talking about the amendments. And I'm going down so now, mind you, at this point, I think I got like 220 people in the chat. I only got about 80 subscribers. Like, think about that. I got 80 subscribers with 200 something people in the chat commenting on what I'm screen sharing. I'm going through the amendments and I'm like, look, everybody's talking all this crazy shit and everybody's going crazy in the chat. And after about 3 hours of live by myself, nobody on the panel, I go, so if all this is true, the whole chat just stopped and it stood still. And I was like, how did Jim Crow law happen after? If all this is a fact, Jim Crow happened way after.
Right.
And some of us are still arguing the same points of Martin Luther and Malcolm X.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, how much, like what is really going on here? You're feeding us food that technically we should eat. I don't even know how it's legal to put this shit in the store.
Right.
I don't know how you can legally sell this fake meat in McDonald's. How they passed the first time, people were like, "Yo, but I don't get what's the hidden message." I don't know how many of y'all remember, but they passed the law to the first one was to be able to use that synthetic shit to put the pieces of meat back together to make it look like it's that like a glue, yup. Yeah. And then they pass it to regular meat, and then they pass it so the restaurants could serve you this fake shit.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So now it's literally made up chemical shit that's going in your body.
Yeah.
And carcinogens all in the cereals, all in the other foods. Like, and they actually showing they got like how we eating paint thinner.
Yeah,
right.
That's in the blood and shit. Yeah, they were talking about students eating paint thinner off the walls. I'm like, you guys see nobody eat shit off the walls. What are you talking about? Yeah,
the same ingredients that they put in paint thinners.
Yeah,
is showing up as ingredients in our food.
And that's what I love.
That's why RFK is going crazy about that shit too as well.
I was about to say that. This is what I love about RFK. A lot of the things that he's seeing are solutions to this is dealing with naturopathy.
Salute.
And you know, I said a little bit about this earlier about naturopathy. We'll just put this up real quick for people who don't know what that is. Naturopathy is a system of alternative medicine based on the theory that diseases can be successfully treated or prevented without the use of drugs by techniques such as control of diet, exercise, and massage. Okay. Thanks. This is some of the things that he stands on: holistic healing, okay, aromatherapy, all that type of stuff. He's into that. Apothecary. This is the type of guy you want leading and presiding over the American people in terms of health, because we are far behind the rest of the world in terms of healthcare. Okay, now, regardless of what they tell you, we are very, very far behind, because the things that we're getting sick of, everybody else doesn't naturally get sick of. We're doing it to ourselves. These are things that we're doing to ourselves, the things that we're eating and the environments that we put ourselves in. Okay, certain things that we receive, the products aren't the same overseas. You buy a Coke over here, it's not the same Coke you're getting in the UK. You understand? You buy a box of cereal here, it's not the same box of cereal. You're not getting the same tricks over here that you're getting over there. Over there, it's a natural sugars, natural cereal. Natural.
And I think, something small and simple. I think bread.
Yes,
I think something simple as bread. I think bread is illegal. The American bread, I believe, is illegal in Russia
because it has pork. Our bread has pork.
I don't even think you get what I'm saying. Like shit, like you'd be like, damn, something as small as bread. Right? Yeah, niggas gang banging on bread, bro. Yeah, maybe you need to open your eyes to why they're gang banging on bread, bro.
Yes, true talk. So, like, if you guys don't think that this is important, it's already being done to you, whether you want to pay attention to it or not. This is what is happening to you on a regular basis. You're eating things that you think is genuine. Even when you go to Whole Foods, people are like, oh, I eat at Whole Foods. Even in Whole Foods, there are things that have preservatives. You have to go and read those labels, because that's the only good thing about the FDA is these products have to have a label on it. So it's not like they're tricking you. You just ain't looking. It's on the label. The same way people who smoke cigarettes, they know you're gonna get cancer.
Oh, no, wait. No, but they tricking. No, they tricking a little bit because of the simple fact that they calling, this is how bad it is. Because they call fructose syrup, corn syrup, some other shit. It's all sugar.
Yes.
Those are all different names for sugar. You get what I'm saying? So there's so much sugar in these products. They got different names because they got sugar. Then it says this, then it says that, fruit, corn syrup. You're like, damn, how much sugar is in this damn thing?
Fructose, corn syrup.
Yeah, all kinds of shit. Saludos to you, brother. Latinos Unidos. Ya tú sabes, Bori, you already know what it is, man. Latinos United, man. Salute to you. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that like button, man. That's a whole fact. Even the food. So hold on. We about to get into that right now, the food, right? Because hold on. So now, let's get all the way. Let's be real quick. Because a lot of us look at like clams, crab, lobster, shrimp. I already said crab. All these ground crawling animals. We look at them like they're a delicacy. These are like cockroaches of the sea. You get what I'm saying? Even like pernil, Puerto Ricans, we love pork. We do pernil like a motherfucker. We love this shit. But for some reason, we make delicacies of shit that's so bad for our bodies.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like we make it like yo, you be like, yo, what do you want for dessert? Oh my god, I want this chocolate cake with chocolate frosting, with chocolate ice cream. It's crazy shit, right? This shit is all the way bad. So now you had this negative content. You had you had this treatful mentality around this negative thing. This thing is so bad for you, but for you, you call it a dessert. Like if you deserve it, deserve it. You see what I'm saying? You're making something so bad for you, making it look like, okay, I've been through all of this. I should make myself suffer.
Yeah.
Let me feed myself some shit that's so bad for my body. Like, and this is the part of that programming we're talking about. And part of it is identifying with the food. Realizing when you're supposed to be awake, when you're not supposed to be awake. That line that we talked about that affects the mind directly by the food you eat. What are we looking at here, my brother? TikTok. All right.
You know how you go and you buy your hamburger or you buy your beef and they tell you that it's plant-based? This is what they mean when they say plant-fed. That means that they're in a plant and they're literally just dumping grass. They ain't grazing, y'all. This is how they doing it. But on the label, it's going to say plant-based. They're literally in a plant and they're taking the grass and just dumping it on your cow. It's not living grass.
Wow.
It's not living. Like with grass, see, certain things are supposed to be
grass-fed
eaten, especially
cow.
these vegetation is supposed to be eaten while it's still alive. When you go and you buy your lettuce, only buy what they call living lettuce. It's literally a brand, and the lettuce is still attached to the root, and it has water in it. You're supposed to eat that while it's alive. The same thing with people who are meat eaters. You're not supposed to eat dead meat. You ever wonder why lions run and chase their prey? Because the meat is not what gives you the substance. It's the blood that's in the meat. Meat is supposed to be eaten raw if you're supposed to eat it. But you're not supposed to eat it, period. But when you eat it, the animals that eat it eat their meat raw because the blood, the adrenaline, the nutrients is in the blood of the animal. Just now watch, now that I said that, watch all animals that prey that have fangs and things like that. Watch, they all chase their prey and they want it alive. They walk right past the dead meat. We the only ones that take dead meat that's been dead for weeks on end, shipped from other countries all the way over here. We don't pump some antibiotics into it, and now we're going to cook it up, chef it up on, and then eat it. We're not getting nothing from it. You're not
So
getting
hold on. Because when your animal is alive, hold on, I was letting you cook for a minute, but hold on, because it's a gumbo, bro.
You kill it.
Because when your animal is alive and your tiger or your lion is chasing this thing, like you, when you run, you get hot, you get sweaty. You know what I'm saying? So the meat is hot. It's at body temperature. It is hot. But we are used to eating shit a different way when it's already dead. All the nutrients, everything is already out of it. We're recooking it, and so. Yeah, and then you to try to save some of it, you want to say, oh, I want to eat this rare, medium rare. You want some of that blood in it because that's where these toxins, these chemicals are in.
The chemicals is in the blood. So we can't touch it. Like here in America, it wouldn't be a good idea because there's so much in the blood. If you're not getting it actually live and you eating it live from them, but either then, if you killed the animal, whatever animal you eat, and it's beef, if it's a cow, if it's a horse, whatever it is, when you killed it, you wouldn't want to eat it raw. Your body would naturally be like, oh, this smells disgusting. And you would not eat it. You would only eat it because you cooked it. And then you did what? You put seasoning on it. You don't like the meat. You like the seasoning. You can take that same seasoning and throw it on some pasta and you're going to tear that pasta up. It's the seasoning. You understand? Seasoning was created for that very reason. to change something that's cold into something that's hot. You are seasoning it. During the summer, you're supposed to reap and harvest your harvest, right? Reap and sow. You reap and you sow during the spring and the summer. And then in the winter, you use that seasoning on the things that are now cold to give it some taste, to heat it up, to make it spicy, to make it hot because it's now cold. So you're creating the illusion that it's now hot food by putting seasoning on it. You understand? But you wouldn't like the meat if I just gave it to you raw and said, eat that. You walk right past it every day. In the supermarket, you don't eat it right there. That fruit, you might take a little grape and be like, right there on the spot, right? Yeah, it's natural. Who does that with a piece of meat, though? Never. You wouldn't like the smell of it, nothing. You leave it there. If it sat there for an hour or two, you probably wouldn't even eat it no more. You're like, no, it ain't no more good. I ain't fucking with that.
Yeah.
You leave that fruit on the table weeks on end, you come back and eat fruit, right? Because you were meant to eat it. So that's a whole nother lesson in itself, but it's still correlated.
Even the way you digest the fruit is different the way you digest meat. You're 100% fact.
Different enzymes. We don't have the enzymes in our stomach to digest the way lions do. Even our intestines, they're way too long and complex for the meat to pass through in a specific amount of time, in a healthy amount of time. So if you intake your meat more than once a week, be mindful. Make sure that you are going to the bathroom and taking a dump after every meat serving. How many times do you eat a meal, 2, 3 meals, every meal you have in meat? Every meal you have a side of meat on there? Matter of fact, here in America, the meat is the main course. Everywhere else you go, the meat is the side. But here in America, the meat is the main course, and we got a little piece of lettuce over there.
Yeah.
Right? So you are intaking nothing but a meat-based diet, but you ate three servings of meat, but you didn't take 3 shits today.
Yo, even the whole conspiracy behind breakfast, you know where that came from, right?
Breaking your fast. Right?
But no, I mean the whole conspiracy in America, where that came from, right? You know where that came from, right?
What do you mean?
You know, Duke, you know where that came from?
I don't know where it came from, but I know one of the brothers was saying something about breakfast, that we're not really supposed to eat breakfast. We're not supposed to just wake up, eat a egg, and have fried food in the morning.
Yeah,
like that should be.
So type in
and juice.
Yo, Jamar, type in conspiracy.
Dr.
No. Yo, type in conspiracy.
That's the exact video I'm talking about.
Type in conspiracy about breakfast. Type that in.
He's probably
in America. And it's gonna talk about how they made
bacon or something like that.
Yup, they made it so they could provide so you could go eat eggs and bacon every day cereal to try to make you spend money to create this new habit. This was something like I think it was Kellogg. Honestly, I think that's the exact name of the person who came up with the idea.
And
Kellogg cereal, I believe it was Kellogg.
They pulled up on them too, and protested. You know, the reality is this, and this is what Layla Africa said, one of the elders. If you don't know who Layla Africa is, in terms of eating, I'm going to put his name in the feed. In terms of eating, I might be spelling it right or wrong, but look it up, Layla Africa. In terms of eating, family, especially breakfast, and he broke it down. He broke it down marvelously. Genius. You crack an egg. Right? The egg is literally the unfertilized menstrual blood and package of a chicken. You're literally just eating like the placenta that has been unfertilized from the chicken. Now you get a side of a pig's ass and you cut it. That's your bacon. You understand? So like, just look at the things that you're doing and what they actually are as you're ingesting them and thinking, now think to yourself, how is this helpful to me and how my body is put together? Like, what am I getting from this? A lot of the fungal diseases that people get come from eggs. Some of you eat cereal. Milk, 95% of people of African descent are lactose intolerant.
Bro, we're the only ones that drink milk of a different animal.
Yeah, we're the only ones. Milk.
Monkeys don't drink milk. Yeah.
You're The only milk you're supposed to consume is from your mother's breast. That's it. You're not supposed
Yeah, that's
to
what I'm
consume
saying.
milk from a cow or I don't know, giraffe or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. You don't see giraffes or monkeys drinking each other's milks.
Yes.
You don't see an elephant drinking the milk of another, and you don't see that shit. It's only us that drink the milk of another animal.
DBN says we are omnivores. I beg to differ. You cannot put we in front of that. You might be an omnivore. Everyone is not an omnivore. Now, what dictates whether you are an omnivore or herbivore? There's going to be several things. I'm going to tell you off rip, you're not an omnivore, and there's several factors that manifest in the physical realm that tell you that you're not. The first thing we already discussed was your intestines. Your intestines can only handle a certain amount of meat. Okay? Only a certain amount. Actually, no. Well, no, you can say we omnivores. I'm sorry. I was thinking of a carnivore. You're not a carnivore. Okay? When he says omnivore, that means both, right? So certain people can handle both. Certain people cannot. Okay? It all depends upon your ancestry and the amount of the type of enzymes you have going throughout your stomach. You can even build a stronger stomach. We evolve. You can develop the enzymes that you need if you wanted to go into eating meat or vice versa. If you are a heavy meat eater and then you turn into eating only vegetables, you have an over collection of enzymes that are different for the ones that dissolve plants. You might get a stomach ache by eating a salad because you don't have the enzymes or enough of them, and vice versa. People who are vegetarians will get sick when they eat meat. They'll feel ill because the enzymes aren't there. So it's just passing through, and now you got the runs. See? So our bodies have the ability to adapt, but it does take time. You have to wean yourself. And that's what I said earlier. It doesn't just happen overnight. It happens as quickly as you can develop the enzyme to digest it. Okay? So another fact that you can tell that we're not carnivores is our teeth. Our teeth is meant for grinding. We chew like cows. Everything that's a carnivore is, and they have fangs.
They chomp. Yeah. They chomp.
They
we
chomp.
chew. Yeah.
You ever seen a white person, right? Certain Europeans, though, have longer fang areas right here.
Yeah.
You ever seen them?
Yeah.
They're around.
The canines.
These
some of the
right
canines, here, right? The canines.
Yeah. They're not super long the way they look like vampires, but you can tell they're longer than yours.
Yeah.
They're genetically more adapt to eating meat. Their jaws are more skinnier and more like this. They don't have the lip function that we have for stretching out, grinding. It's more. Do you understand? Now start looking and you start seeing the differences. Okay? But everybody's not like that. Some of them are mixed in with some African DNA and they look a little bit like us in the face. It all depends upon that DNA, which doors are open and which ones closed that we spoke about earlier. You following me now? So all RFK was trying to do was say, this is the actual reality. When he's saying we got to get good scientists in there, he's talking about people that understand this part, that we are not all the same, and you cannot give a vaccine to everybody on the planet based upon a European health index because they have a different disposition. They are built differently than people of African descent. And quite frankly, if you want to keep it all the way of being, we are the most important because if we were to get to a point where there's an epidemic on Black people where we're dying, everyone dies. And it's not about, just favoring Black people. No, they can't survive without us. They need what we have in our blood and in our DNA to evolve. They won't be able to restart a whole new civilization in a land they've never been to when they can't, when the whole reset happens and they have to start from scratch. All they have is not even clothes on their back. They out there naked. Imagine all Black people all of a sudden, pandemic, epidemic, we're all dead, nothing left but white people, and they stuck in the desert. What happens?
2 words. I can answer that. 2 words. That's simple. 2 words. Sun cancer.
Whole lot gonna happen. Because
because only for the ones that their skin don't adapt.
They're gonna
the
be
ones that their
sterile.
skin don't adapt. Yeah.
The
You're
sun
gonna,
can
it's a
sterilize
fact.
you. Literally.
Yeah, because how many? Because people get mad, but this is a fact. Even if you're real, if you're too white skinned and your skin does not adapt, you start
Yes.
to get like blotches on your body.
Yep.
Never mind nationality. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what race you, whatever kind of weird spin you're trying to put on this, level up mentally. Get out of that lower frequency shit. We're talking
asked,
actual biology.
I want to answer this one real quick. He said, but white people, there are other people here too. You know, what about Asians, the Arabs, Latinos, right? It's not just black people. Yes, you are absolutely correct. So the idea here and the determining factor is melanin. It's the pineal gland and melanin, right?
Yeah, that's
So
why I said stop. We're not talking about race.
you cannot make
Nope.
a black African person from a white person. Meaning you cannot, we went through the Punnett square and we showed you if you put two G's together, they won't turn into a black African person. Ever. It's impossible.
Wait, so hold on. So for those of us who came late, for those of us, for those who don't know, we showed the Punnett square. Can you give a definition, a short-term version of what it is?
The
Look, he
Punnett
about to look.
square is a diagram used to tell you the differentiations between two different individuals when they come together and what that child is going to have, what traits they're going to pick up, whether it be brown eyes, blue eyes, dark skin, light skin, whether they're going to be a black baby or a white baby. And
Correct.
This is taught to you, family. I'm telling you, in grade school. This
Good.
is stuff that is taught to you in like the 6th to 7th grade, somewhere around there. You learn about the Punnett square, and genetics. I'm going to pull it up one more time just so y'all can see the spelling and everything. So if you want to do your own research, you know, we sourcing up today.
Always.
The Punnett square is something that everyone should know about. The big G is black people. The little g would be other races or white people, right? Recessive genes and dominant genes. This is important to know about because this is what determines who you are and the difference between you and your sister and your brother, your mom, everybody else. It's the Punnett square. It shows what's dominant and what's not. So if you have two Indian people, to answer your question, brother, if you have two Indian people that come together and they decide to mix their blood and have a child, you're going to have an Indian baby, not a black African, ever. It will never happen. So that means that certain things that black Africans can do, right? Unless that DNA manifests, they'll get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. Every race other than black African is a delusion. And it doesn't mean that they're weaker. Understand that they're stronger in certain other areas. They're not collectively just weaker. Because like I said, if you take them and you take them out of the environment of Africa and put them in a cold environment, they thrive better than Africans. Understand that. So a lot of times, you know, black people and even African people, they try to take the premise, oh, you know, we the most elite. No, not necessarily. Because things can change real quick in a heartbeat. We could be in an ice age. You're going to need some white folks around. Okay? When you're in the ice age, you're going to need to be warm. You know what I'm saying? White folks going to be able to go right out there in the snow and play around with shorts on. They could do all the hunting until we adapt. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take some time.
Fact. So now this is what I'm saying. When people want to say, oh, he's not talking about race, it's literally what you're talking about. We're talking about biology.
Yeah, science.
If you're trying to find a negative connotation to what we're saying, you're gonna say a word like race, and no, we're talking biology. This is actually what's in people's bloods. This is what we're talking about, the actual facts. We're not talking about opinions. We're not talking about what I believe. Because if you want to get into opinions and beliefs, we'll say everybody who look like Duke is the ops because he got long hair, bro. We're bald-headed. Like we said. You get what I'm saying? So we're not doing that. And we're looking for the actual facts. You know, we're gonna dive into all that.
We just warming up because we got to get into
this is only episode 2.
Yeah, this is only episode 2. We got to get into the origin of mankind, the origin of man in general, because a lot of people are still stuck on the premise that black people or black Africans come from Africa. And we got to get y'all out of that because human beings only come from human beings.
Stop right there. Oh, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that subject no more. Oh, leave that right there. Whoa, stop. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, we still got to get through this topic. Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, because that live is going to be more than, that live is going to be way more than 2 hours. People are going to be like, what?
More alike than we are different.
Yo, I'm telling you, it's like in the Bible it says, bro. Seek and you shall find. You looking for the difference, you're looking for the negative, you're gonna find the negative. You look for the positive, you're gonna find the positive, bro.
It's gonna be there to reinforce whatever thought process that you have. But we're gonna lay down the facts so that y'all can make your own determination. But just from that little thing that I just gave you, that little nugget, people come from people and not land masses. I'm sure you came from a vagina. I came from a vagina, and everybody else.
I know I did.
If you came from anywhere else, please raise your hand or put it in the chat, put it in the super chat so we could talk to you.
For real.
We know where you came from. If you didn't come from, where you came from. Okay? And we're going to discuss the origin of man. Okay?
That's a fact.
We're going to leave it there. I was about to say something, but I stopped myself.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we leave enough room for that topic of conversation, because that's going to be like, what you think about that, Duke? I know you got the he's like,
Oh man, I'm waiting for that one.
Super Bowl about to start. I'm about to get up out of here.
That's a whole
food
fact.
About to come. They're about to
We've been here
deliver. They're
for a
about to
while.
knock on the door, deliver the food. I'm getting everything is
Definitely,
ready.
my homie, like, listen.
Yeah, word,
Yeah, I got
word.
the Chiefs, B.
If you have,
I got the Chiefs on that, bro.
Chiefs. I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm just
That's
watching.
a whole
I don't
Yeah,
really
I'm
watch
just
football
watching
like
too because
that.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
I just want to see.
Oh, I'm a Steeler fan, but I think the Chiefs gonna win. But yo, hit that like button on the way out, man. Hit that comment section. If you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe.
Definitely. And we'll be back with another topic because you're gonna want to get dinged as to when we're coming on. So definitely hit the notification.
Oh, tomorrow. We'll be on his
9
live
a.m.
tomorrow.
9 a.m. y'all. Tomorrow.
You said
All right,
9
Yeah,
a.m.
Jamaar, yeah,
9 a.m.
he goes live in the
Yeah.
morning. We're gonna be on his channel tomorrow, and I'm gonna be able to stream my live the way we're doing it like this, but we're gonna be on his channel. You know what I'm saying? So hit that like button.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody else got something to say?
No,
With
just
divine
thank you,
force of
Jamar, for blessing us. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
Fifth, thank you for bringing all this together, and that's it for me.
I enjoyed myself, man. Y'all family, and the Bills are powerful. We haven't had a bad one yet. We don't miss. So I appreciate it all, and we'll definitely be back tomorrow with some more. We're gonna double down on that. I love y'all. May the divine force in me get the divine force in you, and you manifest every heart's desire. Ashe.
Ashe. Peace.